Let's see. I have no idea what I'm doing. But I am here. If there's anybody here, I'm here. Hello there. I see you. Hey, Melinda. Yeah, Jwhitt didn't do a... I'm going to have my camera on in just a second. But I noticed Jwhitt didn't do his watch party today. And I have like an hour before I have another live I have to moderate. So I figured I'd hop on and see if anybody was interested in watching Candace, because I know we can't do it alone. Yeah, I don't blame him. And I started watching her. It's pretty creepy, so let's see. All right, I'll go ahead and okay, I'll put it on 1.5. Hang on one second. It's not 1.5. I don't have two monitors. I only have one. So I have a bunch of open boxes. Oop, a little too far. There we go. Okay. All right. Let me put her back to the beginning. Well, we can... I know the intro, her music is...
Good evening, my fellow Goyim. How's that? I've decided that when you guys actually move to elect me the dictator of the United States, or maybe the dictator of the world, that's how I will greet you guys every night and bring you the news. I don't know how your weekend went, but I was marked safe from being in the Epstein files. Me, Ye, the artist formerly known as Kanye West, we were marked safe. Boy, oh boy, were we right? We were so right. This podcast, can I just say that it's actually aging like fine wine? Because this was me on like Thursday of last week. Take a listen. This is a synagogue of Satan. I do not go halfway with defending pedophiles. Goodbye. Are you out of your minds? I hate all of you. I think you guys are all a part of the same demonic entity. Your God is Satan. You guys are Baal worshippers. You will continue to kill and sacrifice children until you feel that demon rewards you. And I stand against
Candace,
you.
You're intense.
Yeah, this is how I feel about these people.
Intense.
They are satanic, right and left at the top. I'm kind of feeling like I actually didn't go hard enough.
Anyway,
today we are going max like always. Welcome back to Candace.
Too fast? Hold on. Now it's on an ad. Oh my god. This is why I'm testing, because that's way too fast. Okay. Here we go. Okay, here. Try.
Start with the obligatory question. Are we still talking about the Epstein files?
I took my
headphones
off
talking about those Epstein files? Yes, actually, we are, Trump. We are, man.
Is that better?
I can't believe you're tangled up in this, that you would keep this a secret to protect the elites knowing what you most definitely know that they are up to. Because if we know, how could you not know? You know who was not surprised at all while reading through the Epstein files? Any person that's been watching the show. And of course, the people, especially the people that are in my book club. Shout out to the people that are in the book club. Because the book that we are currently reading is so on time right now. Quite literally, we're completing this book on Friday, Sigmund Freud and the Jewish mystical tradition. After having read previously The Assault on Truth, those people were not surprised at all because I took you through it. What Sigmund Freud and his B'nai B'rith Freemason boys actually believe about you, what they believe, how they have accomplished things, is false dialectic. Cool. Their means to accomplish running Western society, breaking apart Christian empires. Yes, he hated Christians. It's a fact. He wrote about it extensively. He hated Catholics. And yes, they perform rituals. That is not an imagination. It's not a conspiracy. The only conspiracy are those that are colluding to hide those facts. And now we can really stick our noses down at them. And no, I want to be clear. This is not Judaism. This isn't your grandma's Judaism. It's a cult mysticism. That's the way that it's able to move through seemingly all the faiths, right? Aleister Crowley, Well, how could you have the Star of David once upon a time? What was it, before 1914? That was the flag of Morocco. That's weird. That's not a Jewish nation. What does it actually symbolize? Occult mysticism. That's why it's on the cover of Aleister Crowley's books. If you're going to perform magic and ritual.
By the way, that is not what is on the cover of Aleister Crowley's books. It's a completely different star.
And yes, sorry guys, gotta wake up. It's a Monday. We gotta get you there. They deem children to be a necessary part of their initiation rituals. This I'm going to read from you is actually a direct quotation from Sigmund Freud. Okay. The person that was hailed as a hero. We were in high school and middle school, and he's the father of modern psychology. Yeah, guys, that's kind of the problem. That is kind of the problem, actually. Anyway, to contextualize this, he's writing a letter to his best.
The one I saw, it was like a 7-pointed star. And he has a different symbol that it's not even a star. I have them pulled up, but I'm afraid if I try and show them to you, I'll end up losing Candace. But I have them, and I can show you Aleister's symbols.
Best friend, also the person he was having a gay affair with, who mentored him, Wilhelm Fliess. Now, I should skip to the part and tell you Wilhelm Fliess also molested his own son, Robert Fliess. Robert Fliess spoke about that when he got older. But Sigmund Freud is writing to Wilhelm Fliess after he gets initiated, because they wait until you're 36 to initiate you into the occult mystic Kabbalah. Okay, I'm going to read you what he writes. He's referring to a patient who he previously hadn't understood before his initiation, who came in, and she spoke to him about what she experienced when she was a child. He writes, imagine I obtained a scene, which means a patient was speaking to him about this, about the circumcision of a girl, the cutting of a piece of her labia, sucking up the blood, following which the child was given a piece of the skin to eat. He then fast forwards and he says, I dream, therefore, of a primeval devil religion whose rites are carried on secretly, and I understand the harsh therapy of the witches' judges. And then he speaks about this. Freud is implying here, by the way, we are so anti-Semitism proof. This book was written by a guy who was the director of the Freud archives. He read Freud's unpublished works and determined that, yeah, Freud knew that the children were being abused in Vienna. And he created a social science, psychology, to help gaslight those children. This is what you got to be aware of. This is all real. It's not imagined. These are not kooky people on the internet that are telling you this. Quite the opposite. And then this guy, Jason Masson, who writes this book, writes that Freud is implying here that the Sabbats were real events, part of a ritualized religion in which sexual perversions were acted out. So he was aware that this was happening. And in case you are not aware, Sigmund Freud, the background story there is wild. All right. He was once an outcast in the very tight-knit, perverted psychology club in Vienna because he told the truth. He went to the morgue. He examined children who had died after they were horrifically murdered and sexually assaulted. And then he also saw patients who were children who were still alive, who were telling him these stories about what they lived through. And he had determined after speaking to these children that they were all telling the truth. And so he gets ostracized from the...
Okay, so let's pause there for a minute. Hey, Jujubee. Okay, yeah. We watch YouTube. I seen you said you studied all this years ago. I've done a little bit on Sigmund Freud. I know he was weird, but everything she just read in that book, what does it have to do with the Epstein files? Because that's what she's supposed to be talking about. And I noticed that's what she does a lot. She takes one topic, jumps back to another topic, and then kind of squishes them together, but then doesn't really tell you how they go together. But let's see if she actually connects the dot between that disgusting ritual and the Epstein files. Hey, Stargazer.
Psychology community. He's like, no, this is actually happening, and it's also incestuous. And they go, get out of here. You can't be with us. You can't publish his paper. Oh no, what would the goyim think? He actually did publish his findings, and like I said, the pervert turned on him. Then, remarkably, at the age of 36, he partakes in a ritual during which he's welcomed into the club, and he changes his mind, and he writes to Wilhelm Fliess that he now understands. Okay, so that's what I just read to you. Like he now understands what is happening. And that is why you need to wake up and recognize that this is what is happening in our world. And what he's referring to are ancient pagan festivals and ceremonies that center around the earth's cycles of death and rebirth. And so to make this extra clear to you, we are not in a war between monotheistic faiths. The people that we are fighting are effectively pagan gypsies who have been wearing the cloak of Judaism, I would say, since the fall of the missing Khazarian Empire. The Khazars were a nomadic Turkic tribe who adopted Judaism in the 8th century. Now, Freud, this part is important. We're going to get to what's in Epstein's emails because, man, if I didn't tell you guys the truth, Freud himself was a racist, okay? He was a part, like I said, of the Freemason group in Iberith, which had, if you don't know what Iberith is, you got to wake up, especially if you're in America, okay? That lodge, it's Jewish supremacists. They had everything to do with the Civil War in America. They excel at creating the false dialectic, the North versus the South, the left versus the right. Ulysses S. Grant notoriously expelled Jews from his military district, Tennessee, Mississippi, Kentucky. You think he was just like what, another white supremacist? Everyone's just a white supremacist. I mean, another, they would have called him a white supremacist, or he was anti-Semitic. Everybody's just anti-Semitic. No, this had everything to do with what they were cooking up at these lodges, B'nai B'rith. That then subsequently became the ADL after the ritualistic murder of a Catholic girl named Mary Fagan. There was no hiding that anymore. I don't care if Dennis Prager's going to write another letter and say, that's not true. This case is not real. It's happened so many times during the same dates, the same holiday season, all throughout history, that it is getting ridiculous to not acknowledge that this is true and this is real. And the Epstein files create an opportunity for us.
Exactly, Juju, like always.
To discuss this, to hear the way they speak about us behind closed doors, exactly how Sigmund Freud spoke. It's racist, right? I want to make it clear that this is, for them, a religious philosophy, a racist perspective that we are goyim, meaning cattle that are meant to be herded and ruled over. I said this at the end of last year. I said this is how I am being treated because I don't listen to them.
You know what's really funny about her just bringing up cattle is that's actually a metaphor I came up for with her ideas. Her ideas, each one of them is like a cow, and it's like she herds them into her audience. So her audience, all these the cows come, and you can't keep track of the cows because it's a big herd. It's just funny that she used that because I came up with the same thing.
Hence their psychotic, obsessive, and frankly, their evil manner in which they have confronted me simply trying to move on in my life after realizing I don't want to work for Zionist psychopaths. I just don't want to do that if that's cool. To them, that's akin to a buck that won't break. How dare you? They feel as maybe you or I would feel if an animal beat us at a game of chess. That's what it feels like when Candace is just like, peace, I'm out, and her life is not subsequently ruined and over. And they will keep publishing things and calling me names. Everything she's saying is an anti-Semitic conspiracy until the emails drop, and Jeffrey Epstein, who worked on behalf of the Rothschilds, according to him, wrote that in an email, the Rothschilds, who credit themselves with having created which nation state? Oh, right, Israel, the same nation state that is having a bunch of women say that they were ritualistically abused in a forest by rabbis. That's happening in the Knesset right now, that nation state, saying that they were 3-4 years old when this happened. He's saying, those are my bosses, the Rothschilds. And here is a brief, but by no means an extensive coverage video that was put together by, I assume this guy must be Goy, right? Goy? TikToker, contrarian, put this together. Take a listen.
Israel is mentioned twice as much as Donald Trump in the new documents. Here he is discussing with Roger Schenck, a Jewish-American academic and hedge fund worker, saying Jews create vast fortunes by manipulating markets and creating financial speculation and exploiting labor. He says, let the Goyim deal in the real world. In a discussion with the Rothschild family, Epstein says if they overthrew the Ukrainian government, there would be great opportunities. The Rothschild family paid Epstein $25 million for certain algorithms. While talking to Peggy Seigel, August 7th of 2010, she asks if an event is going to be 100% Jewish. He says, no, they'll have Goyim in abundance. But don't worry, they're just brilliant wasps from JP Morgan. Joshua Finkelstein, Black.
Yeah, Gigi, this is her live from today. I haven't seen it. I'm watching it for the first time with you guys because, I can't do this alone.
BlackRock's Larry Finkelstein's son is accused of not having any respect for non-Jews, seeing them as not human. This is from his ex-girlfriend, Svetlana. He pressures her to have an abortion. In 2017, Epstein has a conversation talking about if you want to hire the best people, you have to hire only Jews. Only hire those who can prove they are genetically Jewish. Maria Farmer, one of the first victims to come out and name Epstein.
I wasn't allowed to go get food. And when I called Ghislaine and asked why I couldn't eat there, she said, it's a Jewish country club. You're not Jewish. They're not going to serve you. They, honest to God, think their DNA is better than everybody else.
Said that their operation was motivated by Jewish supremacy.
Anybody gonna say that that's not real anymore? Hey, really bad time, Rob McCoy, who wrote a public letter accusing me of being anti-Semite. Can you some of that energy towards Israel, your masters? Because I won't have them be mine. I can't. I recognize it for what it is. It's using money, finances to whip people into shape, so to speak. I know, like I said, the true history of the slave trade, and the amazing ability to write themselves out every time is really special. It's super unique.
Oh, yeah. Remember, guys, when she said Jews were in control of the slave trade?
Like I said, if you want to know what happened to America, you have to start to trace the lineage of the B'nai B'rith lodges. Look at, probably books, obviously, that you would never, ever be able to read in high school. You have to start to conduct research independently. Ben Shapiro's family, ancestors, B'nai B'rith, okay? Barry Weiss, B'nai B'rith. That's why when you see these differences and amongst Jewish people, they want you to make the mistake of thinking that this is what all Jews are doing, and it's not true. Okay, there's such a fundamental difference between a Dave Smith and a Ben Shapiro. I have a suspicion that I could quit working. Like if I just texted Dave Smith and I said I don't want to be friends or ever work together in any capacity ever again, I gotta feel like he would just let me move on in my life. I got this suspicion that he wouldn't. But you could see that there's like something else brewing when it comes to people like Barry Weiss and Ben. They can't let these things go because they view themselves as supposed to be over us, right? And they also won't criticize people like Jeffrey Epstein. Now, in case you did not pay attention to what was termed Pizzagate back in 2016, the short of it is that the DNC email server got hacked, and off of those emails, they were published publicly by Julian Assange WikiLeaks, and there was a strange amount of references to pizza parties, grown adult men, government employees, men, referring to pizza in ways and within a context that made it seem as though they obviously were not referring to literal pizza, having had parties on ranches and referring to pizza. I'm going to give you an example here. This email went.
Yeah, before she reads the email, yeah, you're right. She has never addressed the Catholic Church. And anybody who's done any history knows that the Catholic Church, even before, the modern day, essays and all that, the Catholic Church was so corrupt back in the day.
To John Podesta, it was sent to him from someone named Catherine Tate. These are very old, obviously, or else we would have hidden her email. She writes, "Hi, John. The realtor found a handkerchief. I think it has a map that seems pizza related. Is it yours? They can send it if you want. I know you're busy, so feel free not to respond if it's not yours or you don't want it. Also, weird specific orders of pizza and hot dogs." That was the beginning of that entire scandal that they tried to downplay and pretend that it was crazy. Well, I should let you know the FBI has already formally acknowledged that pizza is used as a code word amongst pedophiles. So that's not an illusion. That's real. No conspiracy needed.
Yeah, I heard that, that her father was supposedly the security for Sandy Hook, or he was in charge of the security. I haven't been able to verify it, but yeah, I did hear that. And if that's true, that is wild.
Epstein emails, people are diving back in there. What are we to make of these 900 plus emails referring to pizza in real ways? You guys can look through these yourself, okay? Of course, there are the Jeffrey Epstein emails, some emails which we're never going to see, and photos that we're never going to see regarding murder, killing people, calls to kill people. I'm sure they're going to explain this away. Everybody's joking all the time. Todd Blanche has already come out and said that they're sparing us the videos. So we should just assume that there are graphic videos that pertain to death based on his statement. And I'm going to pivot here to just one example of a very strange email, which was covered by James Lee. Take a listen.
Why is this name redacted? You would think the DOJ would want to investigate someone who sent an email to Jeffrey Epstein saying, quote, "I give you permission to kill him." Well, thankfully for all of us, the DOJ sucks at their job. And there's actually another version of that email that is less redacted, or more accurately, poorly redacted. Check this out. "I give you permission to kill him. He is apparently with Olga. He lied to you. He lied to me." And you can kind of make out the name here to be one Susan Hamblin. Here's an enhanced image. You can read right there, Susan Hamblin. So who is Susan Hamblin? Well, she is evidently a financial advisor and founder of the adoption agency Kids to Families. Looks like the agency no longer exists, but I was able to find this archive in the Wayback Machine. At this point, we still don't know who Olga is, but According to reporting, it says that the only time the name has come up in the Epstein case is when his former lawyer, Alan Dershowitz, recounted getting a massage from a woman of the same name at Epstein's place. Now, interestingly, a few years ago, Susan Hamblin sued News Group Newspapers, the publisher of The Sun, who had printed that Susan Hamblin had groomed and procured a 16-year-old woman to be sexually abused by Epstein and told her that Epstein would kill her and her family if she told anyone what Epstein had done. They've since removed those articles and agreed to pay her a substantial compensation. But one Sue Hamblin can be seen in this photo with Jeffrey Epstein describing her to be his alleged assistant, as well as this photo of her leaving Jeffrey Epstein's New York City apartment, describing her as a long-term confidant. A lot of stuff going on here, but the lesson is that this is all information that the DOJ wants to hide from us. But thank goodness the internet is still undefeated.
Also, I love that he's wearing a CIA t-shirt. James, great work. So many independent journalists, thankfully, for independent journalists, or this would have all been.
Oh, and if you don't know James, who he is, he has a YouTube channel. I think it's called 5149. I saw him on Jillian Michaels. He was involved with the jab, making the jab, the labs that created it. So yeah, we'll trust him. Okay.
Worried. I mean, if you just look to what the public was trying to say, they've even been trying to rehabilitate some of these people. Alan Dershowitz, it's unbelievable that this man has gone through so many people like Mark Levin and, of course, Barry Weiss, always the staunch defenders of Israel. Nothing to see here, nothing to look at. People, this was going viral this weekend, people rightfully going back and examining Ben Shapiro once again working diligently, as he did with Pizzagate, to tell people to dismiss the Epstein emails because he had sources and everything we needed to know was already out. Take a listen.
She went out there and claimed there were tens of thousands of hours of tape. There are, by the way, but they are child pornography. The reason the FBI is not releasing them is because those tapes do not include underage people with third parties on Epstein Island. That is not what the tapes are. Okay, I also have sources in the federal government who are covering this stuff and have seen the documents. Okay, those tapes are just child porn. That's all. That's what they are. That's why the FBI is not releasing them. Okay, as far as the Epstein list, what I have been told by my sources is that there is no Epstein list. That basically there's a black book of Jeffrey Epstein contacts. And the vast majority of those contacts are already out there publicly. That's why you know names like Prince Andrew or Alan Dershowitz or some of the names that have been mentioned here. Those contacts, there is no evidence, according to the DOJ and the FBI, and again, that's public. There's no evidence that any of those third parties were having girls trafficked to them. And that is not evidence that was made clear, certainly, to the DOJ or the FBI. Here is Tucker then asserting that it was actually Mossad. Again, without evidence, not a shock. Of course, this is where Tucker was going. This has become the hot speculation on the internet, is without evidence. You say that Mossad was running Jeffrey Epstein. When I say without evidence, I mean without evidence. Naftali Bennett, the former Israeli prime minister, said, quote, "As a former Israeli prime minister, with the Mossad having reported directly to me, I say to you with 100% certainty, the accusation that Jeffrey Epstein somehow worked for Israel or the Mossad running a blackmail ring is categorically and totally false. This accusation is a lie being peddled by prominent online personalities such as Tucker Carlson, pretending they know things they don't." And in fact, I followed up with the former Prime Minister, Naftali Bennett, and what he told me is that Mossad has not been active in the United States against the United States since the Jonathan Pollard scandal of 1987, when a U.S. Army contractor working for them revealed classified information to the Israeli government.
Oh my God, guys, that laugh. Who in the chat believes that laugh is real? I mean, seriously. I'm sorry, my nose is running. That's why I keep closing the camera, because I don't want to subject you guys to me wiping my nose. Okay, let's go.
Who's prosecuted by the United States government and ended up in prison.
I didn't watch this whole
almost
clip.
30
This is
years.
hilarious.
And so Israel since then has not spied on the United States with Mossad.
Imagine being able to build an app with your name on it, just by thinking about it. Meet Base 44.
Okay, guys. Well, there you have it. It's just, I don't know how he does it with a straight face. I just like.
I think she legitimately found that funny. I mean, that laugh kind of seems authentic to me. I don't know what you guys think, but I don't know. If she legit thought that was funny, that's kind of even creepier.
Well, I mean, guys, there's millions of emails, but don't even it's like, Mossad hasn't been doing nothing. I know it seems weird because BB's like always here or whatever, and we seem to be doing their thing everywhere. But the Mossad just said in 9 days, they were like, I'm a chill. And they haven't done a single thing here at all. I know it might look that way. Miriam Adel said she doesn't even know their name. She doesn't know who they are, actually. She's doing her thing and she's giving Trump $200 million, but it ain't got nothing to do with the Mossad. So I just wanted to bring you that stunning report from Ben Shapiro. Thank you for clarifying, Benjamin. Nicki Minaj also went off in a series of tweets after it was revealed that Jay-Z was mentioned in one of the emails. Now, I'm going to wait for a little more information regarding this email because I don't want to be first to publish, because they are now saying that some of these emails came in later when people were allowed to then just flood the FBI with reports. That might not be right either. So just give me some more time to look into it. But the point is Jay-Z was mentioned here. And
oh, wow. Candace is going to wait to fact check something.
it was in the context of being with Harvey Weinstein, watching somebody be assaulted. I'll definitely have more for you guys. And basically a bunch of people rightfully unfollowed Jay-Z. I have not been a Jay-Z fan for a very long time. It is very obvious. He sold us out to the feds. He's clearly working for the feds. I have always believed that the individual that came forward and was honest about what was happening with Diddy and Cass and talking about how the feds do deal with rappers, they give them tons of money and then they move drugs in. That just felt like the correct thing. Like my assumption when it came to Jay-Z was obviously what he was involved in. And so, yeah, Nicki Minaj had a lot to say because she feels vindicated in many ways about speaking about how the hip hop industry works, that you have to get involved with a lot of this stuff. And if you don't, they will essentially blackball you. And you know what? Ye has spoken about how you get blackballed in the industry. He was obviously too sleepy and never got to those tweets that he was going to author because he was very tired and he needed a nap, but he was about to let loose on a bunch of people who were doing the blackballing. And I do very much believe that Jay-Z is a part of that. That, like I said, feels to me like common sense. And I think more will come out and people are unfollowing him. Anyways, here's what Nicki Minaj had to say. She wrote, "Your favorite artist has been practicing rituals in a satanic cult where they take babies from other countries and mutilate and kill them as a form of blood sacrifice to their god. You see, when your master is Satan, you must constantly shed blood. However, the jig is up." And yeah, she's not the first person in Hollywood to say that. I mean, every time we show you things, even when we showed you the CERN activity that was happening, which somebody caught on tape, they just came out and were like, "Oh, we were just faking. That was just like fun. That's what scientists do. They dress up in the middle of the night and pretend to stab women before a statue of Shiva." That's
From everything I found, that was actually a prank. And if it had been an actual satanic ritual, it was missing some key elements that real satanic rituals would have. Just saying.
kind of what they told us about CERN. I just don't know how much could be in our face anymore before we wake up and realize these people are ruling over us and they win when we're fighting with each other. That's just the reality. I really don't see how you can have a ton of success in Hollywood and not be in the club, because Hollywood was founded upon this. Hollywood Babylon, we spoke to you about this. In our book club, they quite literally imported people from Vienna, where Sigmund Freud was, where his boys were. They imported them and they made them directors, they made them actors, they made them actresses, and they were tasked with destroying Christianity, just as they were doing upon the European continent. I don't have time to tell you guys about World War II. Just assume that everything that they told you is incorrect and upside down. They're lying about what happened yesterday. They sure as hell are not telling us the truth about what happened during World War II. And I just don't really care what you call me. It's time for everyone to wake up. And
Hey, my grandparents fought. Well, my grandma, she obviously didn't fight, but they were both enlisted during World War II. So I can believe what they said.
I'm not getting all these files. Obviously, they are protecting a ton of people. The fact that you can't find like the Adels in here is completely ridiculous. Still, like their active agents in America today are all being protected, which is why it was super interesting to see them sort of throw Peter Thiel under the bus. That was interesting. Like I said, you can trace this stuff through politics, through Hollywood, the Jewish occultist mystics that established these industries. But Peter Thiel, his emails went up there, and it ain't good for JD Vance. I'll tell you that right away. I think this is plausibly the biggest scandal to come out of I guess I should say, the most consequential thing to come out of these emails that I can see right now. There's millions to go through. So we'll have more and we'll be reporting on more. But JD Vance, he was they had him there, right? Like he's going to be running in 2028. He's not been leaning super into the Zionist stuff. He seems to be abstaining, has been quiet during the whole Epstein thing. It definitely didn't seem like he agreed with it. But everyone knows that Peter Thiel effectively funded JD Vance's career. He probably had something to do with JD Vance getting the deal with Netflix to do his book, A Hillbilly Elegy, I think it was called. And Peter Thiel, who was mentioned early on as being someone who was friends with Epstein, went on to Rogan at the end of last year and sort of intimated that he really didn't know Epstein that well, but spoke to him mainly just about math because he knew about taxes and how to avoid them. Take a listen.
I met Epstein a few times as well, and I think
how'd you get introduced?
It was Reid Hoffman in Silicon Valley introduced us in 2014, but it was basically and I didn't check, didn't ask enough questions about it.
When you were introduced to him, how was he described to you?
He was described as one of the smartest tax people in the world.
Interesting.
And I probably was my moral weakness that I.
Well, how could you have known back then? He had never been arrested.
And this was 2014. It was post arrest.
Oh, so his arrest was the first arrest, right?
Yeah,
which was like
2007, 08.
Okay. And so,
but you assume he didn't go to jail for that long.
Right.
It was probably not as serious as alleged. There was certainly the illusion that there were all these other people that I trusted. Reed, who introduced us, was, he started LinkedIn. He was, maybe too focused on business networking, but I thought he always had good judgment in people.
When the went down and Epstein gets arrested for the second time, we're like, oh, well, there you go.
I've thought about it. I thought a lot about it as a result. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm sure.
At this point, you're probably not avoiding therapy because of stigma. You're probably avoiding therapy because you've become very good at coping.
And thought about it.
I wasn't really into the Epstein thing. But didn't that happen like a long time ago? I mean, JD Vance is pretty young. I mean, I'm kind of a little confused there, but that kind of happens a lot with Candace. But I mean, for JD Vance himself, I mean, Peter Thiel could have been involved, or I guess, but I think like JD Vance is like kind of young to have been, in the midst of when Epstein was doing the island, because like that was like Bill Clinton era.
He did, because he was emailing Jeffrey Epstein a lot, meeting up with him a lot. Definitely sounds like they were very close, inviting him to the island. Basically, this guy's going to be here from Europe. Also, you should come this weekend. They were together all throughout New York, constantly messaging each other. It is not a good look. There is no question these two were friends. And I do not accept that the person who's effectively spying on all of us, he's got to deal with the military through Palantir, by the way, should be clear. He also, Palantir boys were put onto Fort Huachuca Air Base in July. We'll get into that later. And now we're supposed to believe that he just...
Fort Huachuca?
Like, I couldn't look in any further. I had no context to figure out what Epstein was accused of. And I decided to still be friends with him, despite all the allegations, despite him admitting to what he did, right? He caught a plea deal via Acosta, who was told to leave Epstein alone. That's if Acosta is to be believed, that's the reason why he had to basically give him a slap on the wrist. And we're supposed to believe Peter Thiel, with all of his resources, just went, trust me, bro, I'm not buying it. And this is now a major problem for JD Vance. It is. Just, there's no other way to say it. JD Vance is going to have to answer for this. This is not going to be something he can wiggle around. And I don't think he is going to make a statement on Peter Thiel. I think that's going to be interesting. That is going to be very interesting, the implications of that. But also interesting that they threw Peter Thiel under the bus, because they're protecting the other homies. Like I said, I expect the Kushners to be in here.
But you see how the way she framed it, if you're not really paying attention and don't put the fact that Epstein happened a long time ago, I bet you a lot of people who are watching this are going to come away thinking that JD Vance was involved with the Epstein stuff. And that's like what she always does. And that's like what the problem is. She doesn't make it like
obviously his connections to the Mossad. I mean, there's a little bit. He's setting up meetings, BBNet and Yahoo, Ahood Barak's all over it. He's writing emails and making kind of some jokes, which suggest like about Robert Maxwell and things of that nature. But they've cleaned this up majorly. I also expected to see some other names, which would bring us a little closer to solving the Charlie Kirk murder, in my opinion. So we're getting something. We are not getting anywhere near everything. And that's why Thomas Massie is demanding for there to be more of a release. And also these should be unredacted. If you're talking about murdering people, we should be allowed to see that. We should be able to see.
Yeah, honestly, like Candace is talented. I mean, the way she can just ramble this stuff, and it really is a talent. And, people come into LLC's live chat all the time and they're like, oh, you're just jealous of Candace. And that's why, you're not one of her cult members. And honestly, I think the only thing I might be jealous of is that talent she has.
Exactly who is sending all of these emails when you're speaking about children and the things that you are doing to children in ritualistic acts. Anyways, the next thing I want to say, interestingly enough, is that last week on Thursday, the timing of this is incredible, but Andrew Colvett and alleged Mikey McCoy and his wife went down to meet with the White House, and they wanted the public to think that they were in Arizona. They ran this interview with Kash Patel on Charlie Kirk's show, which is supposed to be live every day. You can fake a live, you can make it a pre-record. but it's interesting that they were actually meeting with top brass at the White House. I'm looking for details about what that meeting was about, because I just need to know. There's a lot about pageantry in these emails. It seems like Jeffrey Epstein was practically picking these girls to win pageants. There's obviously a lot about his real estate empire, and they have conveniently redacted the names of some of these beauty queens, which I find to be a little bit suspicious. With what I know about Jeffrey Epstein and the way that he was moving with Jean-Luc Brunel and going to these industries like Victoria's Secret, like Miss Universe, and I think that's how Trump is caught up into it and is also being rinsed out of these.
Did you catch that? Beauty queens, I think we're going towards Erica. And we know Erica is way too young. I was talking to Mom about that. And even if Erica was involved, she would have been on the wrong end of the Epstein thing.
Files. They were trafficking through these organizations. We know this for a fact, modeling organizations like M Model Management with Jean-Luc Brunel. And so I'm going to need that all redacted. I want to know who are all these pageant queens that he was speaking to. He was asking to see portfolios of women virtually at all of the schools in New York. He was basically running New York City. I want to know everything. Which brings me to Erica Kirk, of course, because she made it clear that she first and foremost wants Shady Vance in the White House. That was kind of a bizarre push.
Called it. As soon as she said beauty queen, knew she was going for Erica. Okay, how is she tying Erica into this? Let's go.
At AmFest right away. And we have been working to verify her Fort Huachuca alibi. And we're having some major problems. More about that when we get back from a quick sponsor break. All right, you guys, thanks to you, last year, Preborn helped rescue over 80,000 babies. And today you can help save even more every single day. In fact,
excuse me, sir, how old were you when you made your first million?
What is this for?
We're trying to get advice for the younger generation.
We kind of are the terrorists. We're being honest. Locate Gilgamesh's tomb. I don't know if you guys read the Epic of Gilgamesh. I certainly did when I was at university. Effectively, it has been long suspected that Gilgamesh was actually Nimrod in the Bible. Okay, so think of the Tower of Babel. We can build society. We're greater than God. Why would Hillary Clinton be looking for that tomb in Iraq? That's what Gilgamesh is featured in Iraq, present day Iraq. Yeah. Okay. So you gotta wait.
How do we get from Erica to Gilgamesh? Okay, that's like the end of her sponsor thing.
Check out to save an additional 10% off your order. That's NIMIskincare.com. Do you guys ever wonder why Hillary Clinton in those WikiLeaks emails was asking a few days before we invaded Iraq? She was trying to locate Gilgamesh's tomb. I don't know if you...
Wait a minute. Didn't she say before the sponsor break that we were going into Erica and Fort Huachuca? That's where I thought we were going. And then she does 2 sponsor ads, and now we're on Hillary. Okay.
Guys read the Epic of Gilgamesh. I certainly did when I was at university. Effectively, it has been long suspected that Gilgamesh was actually Nimrod in the Bible. Okay, so think of the Tower of Babel. We can build society. We're greater than God. Why would Hillary Clinton be looking for that tomb in Iraq? That's
Circle Back Candace. That's her new name. We're going to take it away from Saki and give it to Candace. Circle Back Candace. Except she always leaves the circle open.
Gilgamesh is featured in Iraq, present day Iraq. Yeah, okay, so you gotta wake up, guys. It's all real. They made you think that this was hocus pocus. It's not. They are practicing ancient witchcraft. Who knows what they were going to attempt to do with that. But a lot of our activities in the Middle East have nothing to do with a war on terror. In fact, we kind of are the terrorists. We're being honest, and what the CIA has been up to, we kind of are the terrorists. That's how you kill 1 million Iraqis, by just lying and saying they're weapons of mass destruction. No, they just mass murdered people, but they are also destroying ancient sites. The reason for that is because you cannot, as they want to be, this is what the AI future is about, they want there to be no past, and they will control the ever present, right? You say this happened yesterday, they'll delete a file. It didn't happen yesterday anymore. So they want to go back and they want to destroy all of these relics. That's why there's obsession with getting into Armenia, which they're working on right now. Iraq, Iran, that's exactly what I think. Iran is another place where there's so much history. But they have not been successful in destroying the ancient temples, which show you that the Star of David, it was never associated with Judaism. Jews, please wake up. The Kiddush cup, That is the traditional symbol of Judaism. It even says this on Wikipedia that this did not emerge until the 17th century, right? 1666 was when that guy who was a mystic declared himself to be the Messiah. And they adopted this symbol because it's actually from Solomon's seal. To people that believed that Solomon's ring is because they had done a very good job of destroying a lot of these relics of these Baal temples. They have not done a complete job. They are making sacrifices to Baal. That is the sacrifice that these pagans are making with constant bloodshed of children. Now, I want to show you this. I don't know if you have pulled this in yet, Skylar. Some of these relics like in Baalbek, Lebanon. Yeah, here we go. This is still present today, but obviously Israel is trying to take over Lebanon right now. That won't be here for a very long time. And then we have another Baal temple. Here you can see that Star of David, which is also all over Aleister Crowley, not a Jew, all over his books on ritualistic magic, is the quote unquote Star of David. You have to know this. The symbolism means everything to them. And I implore the Jewish community, you're so diligent at learning history. It's sitting right there. Start with Sigmund Freud, something recent, if you will, and then just start working backward. That's kind of what I did when I recognized these fringe movements. The Frankist cult, long speculated that Jacob Frank was funded by the Rothschild family. Well, we certainly know Jeffrey Epstein was, according to him. He was funded by the Rothschild family. So all these rumors about the Rothschilds are probably not rumors. They just have a lot of money and they pay people off. It's how you get these pastors to lie, these all across all religions that will lie and dissuade their people. And again, nobody can give you a reason as to why the Moroccan flag, the flag of Morocco, was a 6-pointed Star of David. Now it's 5 stars, but it was 6 stars. When the Alawite dynasty, I hope I'm saying that right. The Alawite dynasty, probably not saying it right, began to take over. What have they been doing in Morocco, guys? They have been Aleister Crowley. Why do you think they all traveled to Morocco? Going back to Macron, he loved Andre Gide. They were molesting Muslim kids. That's the reason. And that still goes on today. If you're following the Brigitte story, right? It runs right through to Morocco. Anyways, just wanted to get that off because I feel that this is a very important episode because it's time for everybody to wake up around the world, okay? Turn around, person next to you, the monotheistic faiths. They have all been infiltrated in one way or another by these Satanists. That's what they are. Cutting back into the Charlie Kirk story, something amazing. And I cannot believe I missed this, okay? So I suddenly thought, let me just try to work through actually every minute and every hour of the last 48 hours leading up to September 10th for both Erica and Charlie. I started with Charlie and just trying to confirm what had been said, public statements that were made from people in his inner circle about his whereabouts, also Erica's whereabouts. And unbelievably, I did not catch this, probably because nobody actually watches or listens to Josh Hammer, but he came out once I released the text message. I said it was on September 8th.
Poor Josh Hammer. I saw him, on Sky News every now and then. Nobody ever heard anything bad about Josh Hammer until she attacked him. I kind of feel really bad for him.
He texted and said, I'm abandoning the pro-Israel cause. Well, Josh Hammer came out and clarified that actually Charlie sent that text message on September 9th, the day before he died. Here's what Josh Hammer said in his own words. Take a listen.
Candace Owens seized on this totally out of context screenshot of Charlie Kirk being very upset that a Jewish donor was withholding his $2 million donation. And she used this as an attempt to say, oh, Josh Hammer's lying, that Charlie Kirk remained pro-Israel until his final moments. Yeah. But she's also holding aside that 2 hours after this screenshot, if you look at the timestamps, 2 hours after that, I and a few others were in a small Zoom chat, a small Zoom call with Charlie Kirk the night before he was killed that Charlie organized. Charlie organized this Zoom call for the express purpose of trying to make sure that he had all the best answers, the best messaging advice for how to speak about Jewish-Christian relations and the Israel question on college campuses.
We got that reggaeton. Today, we're going to be making beats. You guys send me a...
Okay, first and foremost, I just want to say he's so full of crap. The idea that Charlie had just gotten back from Korea and was like, oh, please help me, Josh Hammer. You're a complete idiot. Please help me learn how to speak to college students. Josh Hammer and a rabbi.
There were, I believe, 4 or 5 people on that Zoom call. The same people that were in the WhatsApp group that day were the same people that were on that Zoom call, and other people have verified that Charlie indeed did ask how to handle the anti-Israel, questions that he knew he was going to get at UVU. So that Zoom call definitely did take place. Other people have said so.
Who lives in Israel? Like there was nobody else available. You know what time it must have been in Israel for him to organize this call? Why is he doing it with this rabbi? Was it Wojcicki, whatever his last name is? You're not going to just call like Dennis Prager, who you're apparently writing a Shabbat Shalom book with. It seems a little suspect. So you're
it's a group. Does she do any research? The WhatsApp group was called Saving Civilization. There was, I mean, you guys probably know this. There were certain people in that group, the same people that were, like I said, the same people that were in that WhatsApp group called Saving Civilization, which were rabbis, Josh Hammer, and, you know, a couple other people. Those were the same people on the Zoom call. It was a group that Charlie made that had been established. That's why he was talking to him, Candace.
Actually clarifying for us something that's amazing. This is a stunning admission, okay? Because we know that when Charlie got off of this phone call, he texts that evening a text message to Dan Flood and Andrew Colbert saying, they're going to kill me. You should have left it at September 8th because now the September 9th schedule is looking a little bit suspect. Let's pull that up.
And again, it did not said, well, it said the left is going to me. That's what it said, the left, not just they, the left.
I want you guys to see this. Let's go to September 9th first. Okay. So we know, which I've been able to confirm, that Charlie had an appearance in the Will Kane show. That's from his TPUSA office. Erica said that Charlie had the call with Josh Hammer around this time. This is, guys, just so you know, this is Arizona time, okay? That she was getting her nails done around this time. That's what she told me in person. Well, 3:54 p.m., she's referring to the chat. Charlie sends out that text message regarding leaving the pro-Israel cause. 6 o'clock p.m., again, this is according to Josh Hammer, because he says 2 hours later, which would have been 5:54 p.m., 6 o'clock p.m., Josh Hammer and this rabbi that literally is based in Israel have a Zoom call with Charlie. So he sends a message, the chat explodes, people are pulling out their money. He's saying, I have no choice to abandon the pro-Israel cause. Then this rabbi stays up and Josh Hammer stays up. They have a call with Charlie about talking points to do what he's done his entire career, because he doesn't know how to do this himself. He's turning to Josh Hammer, who he does not have a great relationship with, to help him massage out his points. Okay. He's getting messages from Bob Shillman. Everyone's pulling out their money. And then we know that after that, he's going to have dinner with Erica and the kids and a priest to pray over him, according to Erica. We are told that that prayer is related to a Jezebel article that published. By the way, I actually don't believe that at all. I'm just going to put that out there.
Oh, girl, I'm going to go back and pull the clip and do a video on that. When that happened, she gave Erica props and said, you know, that Erica was so concerned about these curses that she had a priest, because that at that point it was Erica having a priest come for Charlie was helping her push her Catholic narrative. So in that episode, the Jezebel curse, you know, she totally was cool with it, but now it's not fitting into her narrative, so she doesn't believe in it.
Just because of my relationship with Charlie and how much we texted about ridiculous articles and laughed at them, for me to think that suddenly on some feminist website, somebody wrote something saying they bought an Etsy spell that would send him so over the edge that he would call a priest doesn't pass the sniff test for me. But let's just...
And it was Erica who was very upset, and I can see Charlie, if Erica felt convicted that, you know, and it wasn't just an article. There was, I can't remember, but there was at least 2 or 3 women that all purchased curses for Charlie, which that's kind of scary.
We just looking at the schedule. He's fighting with Jewish donors. They're taking out his money. Bob Shillman takes out his money. He then schedules this call with a rabbi and Josh Hammer. No, they were talking him off of the cliff. He's in the chat. He's saying, I want Candace back. Confirmed. This happened on September 9th now. I want Candace back. I want to have her. He's also texting other people saying, I want to have Candace back. Confirmed on September 9th. Now you've got, a panic call. Come on, just talk. Let's talk through this. Don't bring Tucker and Candace. Let's talk through this. These aren't looking to debate with a rabbi. Hey, help me debate. This is asinine. They want us to believe he needed a rabbi, a priest, and a pastor in the last 24 hours of his life, all helping him with talking points. Okay. So then
he didn't know it was the last 24 hours of his life. And the anti-Israel rhetoric is getting worse. So a lot of the college kids, when they were going up there, that was their thing.
Get that schedule back up. He ends this call. He has to have dinner in this hour, which I've confirmed. He did have dinner with his family and the priest to pray over him, this priest, at dinner. And then he messages Dan Flood and Andrew and says they're going to kill me. but he was obviously talking about the trannies. His day was being impacted by Israel. He was referring to Israel when he said that. He was referring to Israel. And I have one more thing to tell you. And this is really going to knock your socks off. This is crazy. I've clocked Erica on another lie. A big lie. I went back to my source. Remember I told you when I broke the story and then she had to admit that he texted Dan Flood. First she said, oh, he never texted Dan Flood, whatever. I have his phone. And then I was like, Andrew Colvett told me and my source had access to Dan Flood's messages. Well, Dan Flood, then she admitted he did receive a message, but she said she received that message on a chat that clears, like a Telegram chat. Well, guess what? I went back to that source and they said it was an iMessage. She's lying. Let me say it again for you. She's now twice lied about the Dan Flood message. First, she said it didn't exist. Then she said maybe it did exist, but actually it was on Telegram, which Charlie had set to clear, and that's why she never saw it. That's a lie. It was sent an iMessage between him and Dan Flood, according to my source, who I trust a lot more than I trust Erica, because I clocked her on too many big lies. So, not okay.
All right. When she came back from meeting with Erica, she said that they cleared this up. She said that she saw the messages, that they had Charlie's phone there. And the one that she's referring to, you know, the one where Charlie said they're going to him, was in a different app. So I don't know. Now she's totally changed it.
Let's take you back to the 8th. Let's go to the 8th, September 8th, and I'm going to tell you what's problematic. I had to put together what people said happened on this day, and here's what I've been able to confirm thus far. I have from 10 o'clock a.m. to 11 o'clock a.m., Charlie appears from his home studio. Again, this is all reflecting Arizona local time. On the Charlie Kirk Show, that's a full hour on the Salem Network. Then Erica told me that she woke up Charlie from his nap. Makes sense because he had just gotten back late the night before from Korea. Okay. Makes sense that he would be napping. She says she woke him up from a nap before his Fox News hit. Again, that's just according to Erica, but the timing of him, the idea of him sleeping at this time makes sense to me is what I'm saying. Then we know Charlie Kirk appears from his home studio on the Ingram Angle, and the show, he shoots it from his house. So he's not going to the office because he's exhausted and jet lag. This is also the day that the article appears in Jezebel regarding that witch's curse. At 5:24 p.m., Erica's alibi to me was that she was just arriving back home, presumably with groceries, but just arriving back home. At 6:06 p.m., she texts Charlie and says dinner is ready. And per Frank, and I'm going to listen to what Frank Turek says here. He says that he went on a walk with Charlie this day at 8 o'clock p.m. He says that earlier in the day, he had been with Charlie, but they then went on this long walk, again, because he needed advice about how to debate. I don't know what happened. Charlie suddenly was a day old at debates, and he needed to consult, this sounds like the beginning of a joke, a pastor, a priest, and a rabbi. Like, it literally sounds like the beginning of a joke. A pastor, a priest, and a rabbi walked into a bar. Like, this is what they're all saying, though. Listen to what Frank Turek says on Megyn Kelly's show.
You know, the last walk we went on, Megan, was Monday night. So the terrible day was Wednesday. And so we spent some time Monday, and then we both went to dinner. He wanted to have dinner with the family, he's a family man. So he said, hey, can you come back at about 8? We'll go on a walk. I said, yeah, okay. So I came back down at 8, and I texted him. I said, okay, I'm about here. He said, coming out. And then a minute later, he said, shortly, Gigi just got up. So he was obviously taking care of the baby, taking care of his daughter, because that's the kind of person he was. And then we went on this long walk, and there were 2 major issues that kept coming up that he wanted to be better at.
He then goes on to say that Charlie was asking for him advice for how to speak to the college kids about questions about Christ. So again, he's got so many spiritual advisors to help him contend with this. You would think they might have different answers because you got the rabbi doesn't believe in Christ, but he needs to consult him about debate questions. Then he's got Frank Turek, doesn't even Christ, we got the priest. Anyways, it's all very confusing. But the interesting part that from that statement is that he says that Charlie had to deal with the kids. Now, I'm not trying to read too much into it, but if he's late coming out for this walk because he has to deal, Gigi got up and he's got to deal because he's a great dad, wasn't Erica home? Couldn't Erica have gotten him back down if you had an appointment to make? Perhaps, maybe she was like, no, it's your turn, you deal with it. But the problem I'm having is I have now confirmed with people that live where they live, because they live in a building, that they all saw Charlie. They also saw Charlie on a walk. I have one person who lives there. She ran into Charlie. And he certainly was on a walk, not with Frank Turek, with a tall person who she does not recognize. Charlie stops. They spoke about her dog, and then he told her, like, oh, I'm starting my tour tomorrow. They had a brief chat. Got that on record statement. Now, it's possible Charlie was at first walking with Frank, and Frank then left. So I'm not dismissing that as in Frank's lying, but I am just noting that the person who confirmed they saw Charlie, they confirmed that they saw Charlie and where they saw Charlie and Erica eating on the 9th, seeing Charlie in an elevator. Everything about Charlie is adding up. I cannot get a single person to confirm that they saw Erica, who was apparently out and about. I then thought, wouldn't it make sense? She screams in the middle of a parking lot. She screams in the middle of a doctor's office. Everybody kind of knows where they were when Charlie got shot. Okay, if this doctor's office had people in it, there's going to be someone who said, hey, I heard a giant scream at my doctor's office, even if they didn't see her. And then I looked at my phone, and 15 minutes later, I learned that Charlie got shot. No. She also says that she collapsed in the parking lot. No one thus far has seen that. Nobody in her building and they all know each other. It's a building. They know Mikey McCoy. That people have said, I've seen Mikey McCoy on this date, blah, blah, blah. No one can confirm that they saw Erica on this date where she was behaving super shady and just giving me a very straightforward alibi and pretending like I didn't understand the instructions of this alibi for Fort Huachuca. Something else was going on. I don't buy any of these stories. I don't buy Charlie suddenly needed advice from a pastor, a priest, and a rabbi. It sounds ridiculous. Okay. I think something.
No, it's not ridiculous because Charlie knew that he could learn and Charlie wanted to learn. It's ridiculous to her because she thinks she knows everything.
Was happening. I think Charlie was fearful of his life. I don't think it was about a Jezebel curse. I think everything that was going on in his day reveals that Charlie was stressed out about pressure that was being put on him regarding Israel. And he was instructing to his team that he was done with them and he was happy to lose money. So it would not track that then, after dealing with this, having a call with the rabbi who should be asleep in Israel, but is staying up to give you advice on a debate, like this couldn't have been a freaking email. It would follow.
Ooh, you notice how she's getting really it's common for her to almost curse when before she never did that.
That he then sent to Andrew Colvett and Dan Flood that they, meaning the Jews, were going to kill him. That's what I believe. That's what I believe happened on that day. And as far as why Erica is lying and covering for Dan Flood, we're gonna need to get to the bottom of that. These are not little lies, these are huge lies. These are big lies. She's covering up for bad people and it doesn't make any sense. She's welcoming bad people into the foray of Turning Point USA for money. I don't like it. I don't like it at all. And I don't give a shit about who wants to cut me on Instagram and say, oh my God, the heart, I can't believe it. Oh my God, how could you? How could you? How could you? How could any of you continue to stand by this sort of stuff in the society that we live in, where good men are being cut down, killed, children are being harmed, people are lying about who Charlie was, what he was going through in the final days, and look up at the people who still have a soul and question their motives. If you are, giving into money and the rest of you guys are joining team Baal worship, that's cool. The rest of us, we'd rather not. Take a brief break and we'll get to some of your comments. All right, you guys, for just $25 a month, Pure Talk gives you unlimited talk, text, and plenty of data. Now compare that to Big Wireless. They'd rather charge your family hundreds every month. Pure Talk is an American wireless company who supports our veterans and invests in a U.S.-only customer service team so that when you call, you are talking to someone right here at home. Pure Talk uses the same towers as the big carriers, so enjoy superior.
You, just you, building your app on base 44.
Snakes, they just slide right up, right? And talking your ear off, for you money. Here's all you gotta do, right? And it's it's gotta kind of like be chill with murdering Charlie. We'll give some money at the end of murdering Charlie. It's gonna be a lot of money,
Does anybody else find it creepy how she was just like emotionally ranting about these are bad people and da 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 da, and then she goes into a sponsor ad read and she's like, hey, check out this cell phone, it's great. It's creepy.
Line. And there was a lot of money on the line. What I told you, another confirmed fact with all of these recent firings, a big money check coming in with a Pierre. Erica knows who Pierre is. I'll tell you that for free. Maybe she could tell us, enlighten us. Are they going to accept the money? If so, why can't you just tell us who it is? You guys just tell us who Pierre is. That's fine. If he has nothing to do with anything, why are we all being weird about that? Who's Pierre? Who's the $1 billion check that was on the line? Was that how BB was going to get money in Turning Point USA? Or are we still playing stupid? We're still playing like we don't.
Exactly.
He just wanted to call Charlie because he ain't busy. And he just was like, hey, what's up? I see you at Blackman's house. Yeah, how's the weather? Oh, Hampton's nice this time of year. Yeah, well, over here, we're just murdering more children, sacrificing souls to Baal. Anyways, talk to you later. Love you, BB. I don't think that's how it went down. For those of you who would like to support our work, you can head to the website, CandaceOwens.com. We have new merch up on the website always. You can also buy the hard copied bundle, both of our books, my books, Make Him a Sandwich and Blackout, both of them. And
yeah, all her merch that has her face all over it. Seriously, who wants a coffee mug with Candace Owens' face on it?
Or 124 a year. And of course, join the book club because you guys are late.
No,
we didn't even need the Epstein files. We already knew what was going on. And we are looking at the icons and the symbols and knowing what they mean. And Yeah, a lot more to do. We'll be wrapping that up on Friday, that book, which we took our time on for a reason. And I'm glad we did. It's like the perfect week to wrap that up. We're going to win, guys. I want you to know that as well. We are going to win. God wins in the end. They know that. We know that. And I feel bad for these people that are selling their souls for money. It just doesn't, it's your whole soul, man. It's like your whole soul. I wouldn't want to burn in hell for some cash, but that's me. We're not all the same. Anyway, this person, the top comment from...
What happened to her? I don't know what happened to her sound. Can you guys hear her? Because I can't hear her anymore.
No matter the consequences, I would love to see Ye on your show. Jesus is King. We are due for Candace and Ye. I wouldn't even call it 2.0, 3.0, 6.0, 7.0, 7.0 discussion. I like 7. We should have him back. I'll reach out. And I also I'm really going to invite him over and be like, hey, do you want to come over? And then make him like record the intro.
Okay, yeah, she came back. Yeah.
Don't tell him. Don't clip that. Don't tell him. Yes, speaking the truth, you guys, boldly and being willing to accept the consequence, that is important. The awareness is important. Having people constantly say the truth. I really do believe it's resonating literally. I feel like we have the devil by the tail. I really do. And now when they're lying, it's just hitting different. Like I genuinely found that Ben thing to be hilarious. I didn't watch the whole clip. I didn't know he was going to say like the Mossad hasn't done anything since 80s. It's fun. It's very funny. He's a fun guy, a funny guy. IRO writes, the $65,000 hot dog party that Obama had in the White House was in the WikiLeaks files. Hillary alerted him that he should be more careful. He should have a chat with Julian Assange. Yeah. He was emailing about hot dog parties and pizza parties, and she did tell him he should be more careful. Why would you have to be careful to have a pizza party? Shyla writes, Candace, you are the ultimate truth seeker and right fighter, and you have my support all the way. Christ is king indeed. They hate Jesus Christ. They do. And they are constantly plotting in the shadows. They hate light. They hate the light. That's the ultimate thing. Mahoney writes, as a Catholic, I would love to hear you share with the world what the true Jewish faith was and is now, maybe with the guests, instead of those who would have perverted it for evil purposes have turned it into. Let them call that anti-Semitic. Yeah, it's important. And I keep saying this. We have to have that discussion. And thank you, Sneeko. Sneeko just writes W. That's just for win. Sneeko says, I just won. I won something. Thank you, Sneeko. But regarding Mahoney's comment, yeah, you do have to understand this, that all of the faiths have been infiltrated at a different time. And they have always been pagan. And that's why when people are trying to point and it's this or it's that, it's like, no, guys, they are very good at wearing different masks and creating a false dialectic. And so you are losing when you can't separate the Dave Smiths from the Ben Shapiros, where that's precisely what they want, is when they pretend that it's just anti-Semitic hate and it's hatred, and you have to get more precise in understanding the specifics in the theology that is guiding them, because just like you would never say Catholicism is the same as evangelical Zionism, there are different sects all throughout what they purport to be the Judaic faith, and Jewish mysticism is entirely different. This gets into the Chabad, Lubavitchers. They freaked out when we mentioned that. That's Jewish mysticism. It's a very important book, Sigmund Freud and the Jewish mystical tradition. And it is crazy. Any person that is suggesting that these people do not outwardly hate Christians, who they view as goyim, is a liar. Leave your church if they're telling you that this is what they are actually brainwashing you to accept that you're less than. How can people just not come online and go, wait, this is weird. Why do I have to accept racism? That's weird. No, look, you should just be like, we're better than you because we're this color. Now they're like, oh, God says we're better than you. It's God chose that. That's what happens. It's ridiculous, guys. Wake up. Look alive. It's 2026 anyway. We Woke Now writes, researched Charleston, South Carolina, which was known as Little Jerusalem. It is home of the very first Jewish lodge. The entire city is a literal chessboard. Checkmate is the slave market. Yes. I actually recently went there for the first time and was very interested to learn a lot about the history and also the ties to France, because you can't talk about kids without talking about France. Ain't that right, Brigitte? What's up, dude? What up, my dude? How you doing? Just gonna sue me for knowing? This is their new thing. We'll just sue you for knowing. We'll sue you for knowing that we're devil worshippers. You're not allowed to know that we're satanic. Okay. Well, guess what? My God is not Satan. My God is not money. So good luck with that. We'll see you guys tomorrow.
Make it stop. Okay. Okay. So, wow. Yes, GGB. I'm with you. Wow. That was something. It seems to me like she's taking a cult that I'm sure does exist, but she is conflating it with the entire Jewish population, or the entire Jewish religion, when really it's a cult that kind of what's the word? But they infiltrate. I'm getting like Candace. They infiltrate other religions. So I don't know. Yeah, I wonder, Juju, why she still has a platform. Because people believe her. I mean, it is interesting. If she wasn't accusing people of actual, unaliving, it wouldn't be so bad. If she was just talking crazy conspiracy theories, it might be kind of fun. But because her main, thing right now is the Charlie Kirk investigation, which is an active investigation. There's a trial coming, and she's accusing actual people of actual crimes, and that is not cool. Nobody says you can't ask questions. You can totally ask questions. It's just, she's being completely disingenuous, and the way that she conflates things together. I don't know which one of you guys saw Jwhitt had that guy Jeff on, who was follows Candace, and he didn't even have, he had like partial information. So, but that was Candace for today. I've never done a live stream before. I'm surprised and grateful that you guys showed up. That's awesome. I figured there'd be at least a few of you guys, strolling around YouTube looking for something to do. So I figured, hey, let me see if I can actually pull off a live stream, and we'll watch Candace together. Thank you, Melinda. I appreciate it. Thank you, Jujubee. And thank you. And I'm sorry my nose is stuffy. It's actually like freezing here in Florida, which is insane. Thank you. To everybody, pink quartz there, that is my mom. I don't know if she wanted me to, out her, but that's my mom. Thank you, Gary. I can pull up, let me see if I can pull up those, thank you, Juju. I'm okay. It's just my nose. Like with, I have nose problems anyway. And then with the cold, it's just too much. Okay. If I take Candace off, I could show you Alistair's, symbols. Okay, here. It's, just like a Google search of Alistair's symbols. Here we go. Okay, so let's see. I think it's these that she's talking about. But yeah, this is the main symbol associated with Aleister Crowley. I mean, here's some, but I mean, she makes it seem like the, oh, here's the one that I thought looked the most like the Jewish star. But if you count, it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. It's a 7-pointed star, Candace, and it's not the same. And I used to be into the pagan stuff, and every single one of these symbols and every single one of these points means something. It's not the same. And, symbols get hijacked, like you know, the German man stole his symbol from, I think, the Hindus. So, you know, that happens. But, but anyways, I guess I'm gonna jump off now. The live I started like 10 minutes ago, so I should probably go do that. But I appreciate all you guys hopping on. I'm not trying to steal Jwhitt's job. He does a great job at it, but if he needs a break, I'll hop on and we can watch it together. So everybody have a good night, and thank you so much for coming by. Hit the like button. I put out my first video, and I got ratioed by a couple Folt members. So if you can hit the like button, that would be great. But anyway, have a good night. Stay safe and stay warm, and I will see you next time.